Hello and welcome. This is Benevolent History here, and I'm here to give you a commentary battle on the grassy flatlands. This is a 3v3 battle. I'm playing as this Brutii Romans, and I've taken 3 units of urban cohorts, pretty heavy upgrades, 4 units of Ultra Auxilia, gold attack upgrade, 4 units of Roman Archers, gold, 5 units of Praetorian Cav, pretty heavy upgrades as well. And one of my allies is King Julius here, also known as Lucas. He's commanding the Seleucids, and he's taken 1 peasant who are mooning me right in the face. Thank you, guys. 2 units of Silver Shield Legionaries, 6 units of Cataphracts, heavily upgraded, 6 units of Archers, gold, or at least I think they're gold. Militia Cav, 2 units of them. And Scythia here, playing as the Greek city-states, is playing as the Greek city-states. Wow, that was pretty redundant. Sorry about that. And he's taking 4 units of Cretans up in front, possibly to take advantage of the fact that if our opponents relocate, he could send these guys to do a few pot shots. 2 units of Hoplites, 2 units of Militia Cav, 2 units of Greek Cav, 4 units of Archers, and 6 units of armored hoplites. So he's taking a very heavy infantry component with very few light cav. So in this battle, Scythia decides to rush at Scythia. Not right away. In the middle of it, he decides to rush at Scythia. At the same time, Lucas will go and help and support Scythia in his attempt to attack Scythia. And you'll see with those effects. You'll see what happens afterwards. My plan here is just to hold my opponent here, who's the Eagle, playing as Brutii Romans, hold this guy in place. So if he sends any troops there to support his allies, I could easily send my troops up to attack him. So I'm basically like a holding force, and I hold them back. So let's pause this for a second. So, the Eagle, as I said, playing as a Brutii Romans, taking 5 units of urban cohorts, 6 of Roman Archers, 2 Ultra Auxilia, 3 units of Praetorian Cav, and 2 units of Equites. He's taken more infantry and less Cav than I did. So, Prophet here of the Total War Rebel clan is playing as Pontus. He's taken 5 units of side chariots. He's upgraded them too. Pretty risky to upgrade them, but they will be more effective. But although they're more effective, these are still side chariots, so they can still run amok more easily. And 1 unit of Pontic Light Cav, 2 units of Chariot Archers, 6 of regular Archers, 4 units of Bronze Shield Pikemen, 1 unit of Peasants. And Bofo of the Hell Clan is playing as the Scythians. He's taken 1 unit of Scythian Noble Archers. That's long range horse archers. 1 unit of regular Scythian horse archers. 4 units of Headhunting Maidens. And 2 units of Scythian Nobles. These guys, in my opinion, it's not worth bringing these guys because Headhunting Maidens will do the job. Headhunting Maidens are better. The Headhunting Maidens are cheaper. Plus, Headhunting Maidens have that effective against armor with the axes. The only thing that Scythian Nobles have more armor and better charge. And 4 units of Chosen Archer Warbands, 4 units of Archer Warbands, 2 peasants, and 1 unit of Warhounds. He has the general unit in the Scythian Chosen Archer Warband, which in my opinion is a mistake. He might have accidentally done this, but yeah, he probably should have done it in a Headhunting Maiden or the Scythian Noble unit. So as the battle begins, I immediately rush all of my troops to get into supporting range with Lucas here. We're just gonna position our men so that we're right beside each other. Notice that Lucas sent a peasant to my side. He wants to use it we're gonna use that peasant to block out um, Prophet's chariot archers. At the same time, Bofo sends up his horse archers as well against Skigaman. Though, in my opinion, no, I personally think that Bofo should have been more aggressive with this missile cavalry. If you're gonna use horse archers, you want to do damage quickly. You want to do damage away from your lines. So, in order for that to happen, you're gonna have to be very aggressive with those horse archers. Though Skigaman does a pretty decent job at pushing these guys back. He sends out 2 units of hoplites just to push these guys back. Though Bofo would have been easy. It would have been easy for Bofo to go around the flank here. Maybe send some parenting maidens as well in support, because the Greeks have very weak cav, and Scythians have much better cav than Greeks. So Prophet does the same at this flank, although Prophet's not as aggressive as he should have been. Though Prophet is more aggressive than Bofo here. So Prophet should have just come like running in, chasing down these Roman archers. But I probably would have moved my Roman archers out of the way if he had done so. So at this point, Skigaman decides to rush his opponent, and Bofo should have. I think that Bofo should have seen this coming. Skigaman places his infantry in front first, because if you want to rush at your opponent, it's best to place your infantry up in front first, because infantry in general have a better missile resistance than regular archers. That way, if your opponent has fire at will on, your opponent will waste some ammunition on these infantry troops. So notice that Lucas sends up his Silver Shield Legionaries as well in support with Skigaman's armored hoplites. So that Lucas sends up his Silver Shield Legionaries so that when Skigaman rushes the Scythians, the people of Pontus will not be able to easily support the Scythians because these Silver Shield Legionaries are threatening the Pontic player. So immediately Skigaman sends his armored hoplites against these barbarian peasants. Obviously these barbarian peasants basically rout on contact. This one lasts for a little bit, but still, barbarian peasants are will not go toe to toe against heavily armored Greek infantry. So you can see that Bofo is shooting a lot of missiles at these hoplites, but he's doing very little damage. Not even maybe causing 1 or 2 kills, but that's really negligent. So I think that Bofo should have done better, probably to maybe go around, or he should have been more defensive minded and send his headhunting maidens back here to defend his archers. The problem with using Scythia is the fact that Scythia has no good infantry, so that if your opponent rushes you, as a Scythian player, you're forced to basically withdraw, unless you brought axemen, but axemen are very weak infantry. So you can see that Bofo wastes his warhounds frontally against the phalanx. If you want to bring warhounds, you're gonna have to use them at a decisive moment, because warhounds are pretty cheap. I mean, warhounds are pretty expensive, costing 600 each. So Skigaman sends up his infantry. Obviously, the only thing that Scythians can do is withdraw. This gives a chance for Skigaman to outflank the Pontic player. You can see here. So Skigaman sending up armored hoplites in the flank. Lucas is sending up Silver Shield Legionaries in the front. And Lucas is also sending up a few cataphracts here. So cataphracts, unlike most heavy cav, are able to basically go head on against a infantry unit and come out on top, as you can see here. So what Bofo does is retreat. There's not much what Bofo can do because Skigaman and Lucas are teaming up very well. Prophet does send one unit of side chariot here eventually, but he wisely pulls back because he sees that Lucas and Skigaman still has a lot of archers left. So headhunting maidens, they kill one whole unit of armored hoplites. They manage to destroy it, but Bofo loses a lot of headhunting maidens because even though headhunting maidens can kill cataphracts, headhunting maidens cannot do the same job as cataphracts because they have less defense. Cataphracts have a lot of defense, while headhunting maidens don't have a lot of defense. So, as suggested by all those dead headhunting maiden bodies, and you can see two of these women who surprisingly are attacking invisible soldiers. Not sure what they're doing. This phalanx line of hoplites are just looking at them, saying hi. Anyhow, with that rush, essentially Skigaman and Lucas have displaced a lot of Scythian troops. So the Scythian player is basically in chaos right now. He's trying his best to retreat a few troops. This headhunting maiden unit got pretty much isolated and routed. He's retreating all his troops. The problem with withdrawing this much is the fact that it leaves your allies' flanks vulnerable. So you can see here that Prophet here is refusing the flank of Eagle. So Eagle right now is in jeopardy because Skigaman now has armored hoplites in the rear of Eagle. So we got these guys in kind of like a vice. So Eagle didn't really do much to help out his allies because I was facing him. So he really couldn't do much. If he had sent Praetorian Cav to support his friends, obviously I would have sent Praetorian Cav to support Skigaman and Lucas as well. So I'm setting up my urban cohorts in. We go at a pillar throw. He gets the better of this engagement because he has more urban cohorts than I do. I charge in some of my urban cohorts. I fix his troops in place. Though if I leave these guys fighting, I'll obviously lose because he's got the better pillar flow. He's got a better pillar flow than I did. So at the same time, Lucas is gonna send in his cataphracts to concentrate all his cataphracts and send these guys in the flank here against these Romans. Well, at the same time, I support Lucas's attack. I will attack either the Eagles Julii Romans here. But Prophet does a good thing. He sends up all of his side chariots in and basically devastates our cav units. Though, however, Skigaman, Lucas, and I still have a lot of archers left, so we basically flame those chariots like there's no tomorrow. So a lot of these chariots are gonna die. That's a bad part of you using side chariots, and especially if you upgrade them. And these guys are now basically rendered totally useless. Plus, in a tight fight like this, when Lucas and I formed up pretty much a huge cavalry box like so, chariots will be less effective. Chariots are most effective when your cavalry units are separated. When the enemy's cavalry units separated, sorry. So Skigaman does his best to displace the Scythian troops so that Scythia does not have a say in this engagement here. So Bofo charges in his headhunting maiden, is trying to do his best, trying to turn back the tide, but it's basically too late. The funny thing is, Lucas sends his archers to hold down these headhunting maidens. These archers do a pretty good job actually. They hold off these headhunting maidens until Skigaman's armored hoplites come in, and my cav and Lucas's cav are sent in, and we totally slaughter those headhunting maidens. So there's no chivalrous behavior on this battlefield. A lot of dead hunting maidens. Sorry, girls. So you see last remaining Ultra Auxilia fighting against a headhunting maiden unit. But all of our cab comes in. And poor girls.
The enemy general is running away. This is no way for a leader to behave.
So at this point we basically won this battle. Now I think what gave us the victory here was the fact that Scythia rushed a Scythian opponent. Scythia is not a bad faction, it's just that Scythia has no infantry at all, so Scythia doesn't. So if Scythia gets rushed, obviously the Scythian player, the only way for the Scythian player to respond to a rush is to keep on pulling back, and because he keeps on pulling back like so, he leaves his allies' flanks vulnerable, like you saw there with Prophet's bronze shields. They totally got double teamed by Scythia and King Julius. So because Bofo was kept on withdrawing, he kept on placing his allies' flank in danger. So I think what should have happened was the Eagle and Bofo switched sides, or at least perhaps Bofo should have been in the middle because well, actually no, that's probably a stupid decision. So I think the Eagle and Bofo should have switched sides because the Roman player would have done better to counter the Greek player, Scythia, and the Scythian player would have done better to counter me as the Roman, because the Romans, they're not so good against Scythia. Because the Greeks are better against the Scythians, because the Greeks have phalanx troops, while the Romans only have tough urban cohorts, and urban cohorts, they're not a phalanx, so using cavalry against urban cohorts is pretty easy to defeat urban cohorts. I guess this displays rush tactics against opponents who are not using an infantry heavy faction. Like if your opponent is playing as the Parthians, Dacians, or Scythians in a team battle, for instance, it's probably to your best interest to rush that player, to rush the player who doesn't have infantry. And if his allies doesn't respond quickly, then the person with no infantry will have to withdraw, and that'll jeopardize his allies' flanks, as you saw in this battle. So that gave us a clear victory. So Lucas here got the most kills, and he was pretty excited about it, because Scythia usually got the most kills. Gets the most kills, sorry. Let's see the kills right here. Who is the hero of my army? Well, apparently one Ultra Auxilia units got 66 kills, so apparently the hero of my army is one unit of Ultra Auxilia. Strange to see that. Sometimes Ultras get the most kills of your army.